you always want to put your money in a place that can give you some form of returns. That some people go ahead and bring up products, sales, or any kind of investment, and at the end of the day, they get their hands beaten. All this has led to some of these issues why people, have their fears. The real estate arm itself, the role of the real estate, brings people together, builds a community.
Hello everyone, my name is Kimura Ayasi, and today we're going to be talking on property management and development. And with me I have engineer Zino, who's going to be sharing more light on this topic. So sit back, get your notes and your pen and jot things down. It's going to be an amazing day today. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us. Can you kindly introduce yourself?
Okay. My name is Engineer Zino Igweni.
Yes, sir.
I'm a civil structural engineer with over 15 years of experience in the industry. My experience cut across so many sectors in the engineering sector, the power industry, the fast-moving consumer goods, which is the food industry, then of course the construction arm of the business. So my experience is vast around these major areas I've actually highlighted. I've constructed over 100 homes, and this could just be the least I can say for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
So I have a question. So it's often heard that people are scared to buy from real estate companies because of development issues. How true is this, sir?
Yes, I share that sentiment as well.
Okay.
Because you always want to put your money in a place that can give you some form of returns. And so what happens if you have your fears in putting your funds in an investment portfolio? There are quite a number of reasons. It's one, it boils down to integrity. Okay? And so when people have these fears, they are not alone in fears like this. And of course, we are in a country where, yes, we have regulations, but regulations have not been very thorough in some areas. And you realize that some people go ahead and bring up products, sales, or any kind of investment, and at the end of the day, they get their hands beaten. So as a result of that, all this has led to some of these issues why people, have their fears about some of these things you have just highlighted.
Okay, sir. So can you tell us the role of a real estate company and the role of a land/homeowner in property development?
So you're basically asking two questions.
I'm asking two questions in one,
okay.
Yes.
So the role of the
real estate company, property development.
Okay. Now, the role of a real estate is not limited to what I'm going to tell you now. Let's put it in this direction. Now, the role of a real estate, they do more or less like all the dirty jobs for any individual who wants to come and buy any of their real estate portfolios or investments. Now, the real estate arm itself, the role of the real estate, brings people together, builds a community. I have a real estate. One person comes, he has a portion of the earth. Another person comes, he has a portion of the earth. So you can see the connection between the real estate and individuals coming together. You are building a community. And so you can now tell that the role of the real estate, it's beyond all of that. Now, because you are building a community, you are also very likely to be responsible for things that will also happen in that community as well. And as such, this is a pivotal role they play. Now, outside that in itself, there are some, I will call it some behind the scene that happens at the real estate that's the itself, where individuals, may not even get to know, or those who have come to buy plots. Issues that may probably come as a result of the land. Probably you buy from a family and you may need to, another family comes again, they will tell you that the original owners, and sometimes you may need to rectify, even with the government as well. Of course, you can see what happened recently in Abuja when the new FCT minister had asked that anybody who has a CFO must come to revalidate their CFO. So what happens? The real estate bears all these responsibilities, right? And sometimes it's not being passed to the individuals who have bought a parcel of land at one or two places. And so you can now see what the role of the real estate, what their roles they play. So I would rather say there are some visible things that you see, and there are some behind the scenes that they don't also see. But by and large, the role of the real estate is they are building a community, okay, bringing people from different spheres of life. They build a community around themselves, and of course, towards the development of the nation generally.
So that's the role of the real estate. What's the role of the land stroke homeowner?
Yeah.
Property development.
The role of the owner.
Yeah, the owner.
Who has bought the land.
Has bought the land.
So everybody always have a share of responsibilities. And responsibilities alone shouldn't even be left in the hands of even the owner of the estates. Okay, responsibility should be shared responsibility, as long as there's understanding, as long as the terms and conditions are clear and also very precise. Now, the role of an individual who has probably bought, okay, right? First and foremost, what is really required is their cooperation. Cooperation is key, because when a nation is divided among itself, it goes either way.
Everybody has a part to play.
Everybody, yeah. So the first thing is what? The individual cooperation. What are the things they are all looking up to in that estate, right? So first, there has to be a cooperation. Then, of course, you should understand that because they've all bought individually, they have their rights, okay, to some certain things, but they have to play by the rules. Now, the rules are there to guide individuals, okay, and those are the estate rules. So probably you have setbacks and all of that. So these are kind of things or considerations that they have to abide to. Then, of course, keep your environment clean, okay? Cleanliness is next to godliness. You have some people who don't want to abide by rules. And unfortunately, sometimes we're in an environment where our regulators probably don't go all out to charge defaulters. In some times, when individuals violate certain environmental rules, what happens? They are fined heavily. In fact, you just see that you just get an alert. Oh, you have been fined for this. So you can see that's in some climes. So the role of the individuals, first the cooperation, secondly abiding by estate rules, then of course there are more to it really. It's not just limited to what I've said, necessary setbacks and all of that. So there's also what I call it, what can I use? Let's say there are some internal, let me call it some internal regulations. Let me use that word, by the real estate companies, which one would expect that whoever has bought the land in such an estate should abide by it. And those kind of rules should be sacrosanct. So, you have duty of the individual who have bought to the estate owners, and you also have duties of the real estate owners to the subscribers or owners who have bought from them.
Because you rightly said it's a community, so everybody has.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
So tell us the challenges.
Yeah.
The landowner, the real estate company can face in property development and management, and how can you resolve them?
Mm, Well, it's well. Let's talk about financing. Financing has always been a major key challenge, and it's not just
from both sides, from the real estate or from the subsequently landowner.
From the real estate. So from the real estate, even individuals too can also have finance challenges. So let's say finances, for example. And of course, when you have a very large estate you need to develop, it requires a very huge sum of money.
Yes.
And sometimes this money may not be readily available by the real estate owners. Yeah. Okay, so this could be a very big challenges, a very major challenge rather, for the estate owners. Okay, and of course there are solutions. Okay, so the solutions, which is not too far-fetched from us, is getting a bank loan. But you know how difficult
it is
that
to get a bank
loan. Even when you have all the requirements, even when you have your documents, getting a loan from the bank, it's at a double-digit interest rate is really very high, and it's not been encouraging. And even when you have all of that, it can still be difficult. It's more like taking funds or taking a food in the mouth of a lion. Do you know what that is?
It's very dangerous.
Yes, very dangerous. So that's how it is, even accessing loans, in our nation today. So these are, one of the major challenges the real estate owners also face, but then, because you have talked about solution, I've also mentioned that trying to get loans from the bank. Then, of course, there are still other ways one can get loans. Okay. Crowdfunding. Okay. Crowdfunding.
That's a very access question.
Yes, exactly. And this brings me to a very brief, I won't call it a story. Jeff Bezos, right? The owner of Amazon, when he was going to start up his company, he had practically begged his family members, because it actually starts from there. Okay. If you don't have family members believing in you, then that means you need to do a lot of talking to win people outside. And I think it started from his family. And he was beckoning on them, even if it's $5,000, $10,000, invest. He had a vision, wow. A good number of them believed in him and some didn't believe. But today, what has happened? Those who invested in that business, it's not just triple. They've made over 1,000% in profits. So you can see where crowdfunding comes in. When people believe in that project, they can all come together to see how, they can fund this project. And there's also what you call SPV, special purpose vehicle. Okay, where you can have individuals who have the wherewithal, who have the resources, the financial strength, who are willing to put their all in all, so long as they have their returns and all of that. So these are ways, one can, get funding, we've talked about the challenges, one of it, and of course, solutions to it. And these are ways one can probably get funding from them. Then one of the challenges again we have is market volatility. In the past few months, okay, precisely let's take it from October down to this time, we have seen how the volatility of the Forex has changed the dynamics of the construction industry. And of course, we're talking about the similar industry, how it affected construction, even as far as labor. And, practically everything seems to be hinged on Forex. And as a result of that, it has it has affected so many things down the value chain. And so volatility of the market, is also a major challenge. Okay. It affects, what you have just mentioned. So outside volatility, you also talked about solution, because you talked about the problems and you want me to provide solution. So while I'm highlighting one of few of them, I will also talk about the solutions immediately. So volatility. So in the industry, okay, well, no one will ever envisage you have this kind of erratic volatility. No one will ever envisage that. So even if you have the best of economics, nobody ever saw COVID coming, right?
Yeah.
Nobody ever saw it, but it came, and it's, it affected it affected everybody. It affected businesses, local and international. So because of the industry we play in, how do you manage a certain degree of this volatility? You could stock up materials. When you stock up materials, you have to ensure that you are using them so that they don't also get bad. You understand? So, stockpiling materials basically for your construction activities. So that's just one of the solutions. So we've talked about volatility. Another thing we also need to look at is the risk management. Okay, a good number of people shy away from risk management. And risk management is something that one shouldn't be shy of. So when you have a project, you are supposed to be able to identify the risk that comes on that project. And of course, find solutions to it, which you're talking about. So, for a project, if you have a building in the real estate or something of very great importance to you, you need to talk about insurance. In this climb, we don't really take it so seriously, but this is something that is very important in our lives today. So, insurance is another way of finding solutions to it.
Let me just say, it's just ringing in my head.
Yeah.
Can I say there's a security challenge for property development?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is a security challenge.
Okay, which leads to my next question. Do you believe that property owners will play their own role? If they play their own development, estate managers will fulfill their responsibility. If property owners, they do what they're supposed to do that due diligence, estate managers to fulfill their responsibilities.
Yeah, so, well, I may not be able to speak for other organizations, but I can speak well of Pertinence.
Okay.
So if customers fulfill their side of the bargain, certainly I know Pertinence will do that. And we've seen quite a number of estates where this has been done. For example, I can remember Boys Town. We also have an estate in Ilamija. We have in Lead Avenue, Moe, and I can go on and on like that. So once customers, fulfill that side of the bargain, we are usually moved to do a lot more, even more than what they have even paid for. And we've been doing it and we won't stop doing it. The most important thing is for customers to understand that there are companies out there that they should do business with. Okay? We are registered. I know Pertinence is registered with relevant authorities in the industry, and I can speak well about Pertinence. And so certainly our words are always our bond. So if customers fulfill that side of the bargain, I'm very certain that Pertinence will do more, even beyond what they've even paid for.
So we'll do what we say we'll do, as long as you fulfill your own bargain.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for joining us today. You said so much and we've taken in so much. Thank you for your time. And I'm sure our viewers enjoyed the episode today. So for more information on property management and development, be sure to subscribe to Pertinence TV and drop your comments. We'll reply to them. Thank you so much for your time. And it was nice having you.